What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock, what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and talk about what the charts are telling us about the markets and Tesla as well. I'm also going to break down what the data is showing for the overall market and how it may affect Tesla, and also some very big updates from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Elon Musk, because we do have some big updates on his Twitter page involving the whole Twitter deal and also Tesla. Now, before I break anything down, before we get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Weeple link down below in the description. If you sign up for Weeple, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, any of these 12 free stocks could be a free Tesla share. It's a limited time offer that ends in just 10 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Looking at Tesla, this thing was up about 3.45% for the day, a little bit green in the after hours as well. And overall, the market did get a nice push going forward. Now, I did anticipate that Tesla would approach that 215 range. I did think we could get a small rejection off this, then kind of like come closer down to about like 211. However, we ended up holding these zones pretty well. We actually managed to close just under our resistance level around 215. So pretty decent day for Tesla. However, before you guys get your hopes up, before you guys become all excited and start partying, there is something very important I must warn everyone about this market when you look at historical data. So looking right over here, firstly, you could see that when it comes to the options chain, Tesla's max pain was at about $232 a share for today. This incentivized, a lot of these market makers to actually push the share prices up, to start pushing the market up as well for like the different ETFs, the index funds, and Tesla as well. And this is what played a role in the market kind of pushing up the way it did. There are also other factors out there, such as the fact that historically, this time of the year tends to be pretty well and pretty good for the markets. However, we are approaching another time frame that's not going to be as good, at least historically. If we look at some historical data, we could see that looking back since like 1946, during these midterm elections, the market has a tendency of actually coming down pretty hard during the last week of October, approaching the midterms as the big election is coming. Now, in this case, guys, it's looking like this is very possible because we are entering the last week of October. However, there is also the possibility they may try to keep the market afloat for some time, and then they may let it drop after the midterms as well. So I'm anticipating that either like next week or maybe the week after, we might start to see some bearish price action in the markets, especially because of the fact that FOMC is coming up very, very soon. For the data for Tesla, right now compared to the SPY, we could see that we actually are not trading that well overall. We have a similar price comparison, but the price price ratio kind of like came down again. So you guys could see this thing pushed up a bit because approaching earnings, Tesla was outperforming the market. Then after that, Tesla has been underperforming overall. And even though the market did push up a bit today, Tesla is still kind of like lagging behind at least a bit. We're not showing as much relative strength as before for the time being. Now, overall, we are still seeing some very nice ratings. Now, Wedbush actually mentioned just a couple of days ago, they believe Tesla is going to outperform. So did RBC Capital and many other big banks out there. So Tesla is still looking pretty bullish overall for the long-term future. Friday was historically like more likely to be a red day, but it turns out it didn't really matter in this case. Tesla managed to actually hold up because we were set for some relief. Now, looking on Monday, it's also important to note that 53% of the time Tesla is actually green, at least for this year. So it is very possible for us to get a slight continuation to the upside for then. However, after that, when you look at the data, things could actually change. Now, the shorts did pile in pretty hard very recently into Tesla, but they have slowed down just a bit, especially because Tesla is trying to push up a bit. And this is playing a very big role in the current price action. Now, I just want to remind everyone, approaching the midterm elections, we're getting very close to it. We also have an FOMC meeting during that time, so I wouldn't be surprised if whether it's earnings next week or even the FOMC meeting in like 2 weeks, one of those things could be the big switch for the markets, causing the markets to actually start acting like we are truly in that bear market, and we are going to likely start to come down from there. On the SPY, it's important to note that we are getting a nice push to the upside. We did actually form almost like a W shape right here. It's a little bit off, but overall, we are actually showing some good signs right here to kind of like retest 375 and potentially maybe 378 if we do get a big push again. However, You have to remember we have a giant gap all the way down to about that 358, 357 level, and there's no guarantee that 348 is the complete bottom for the market. Many people believe that it's very likely we are going to see a new low in this market. Now, fear is temporarily subsiding, but it is likely to actually come up again as earnings are not in the best of states. This is because of the fact that the Fed has been raising the rates, and when they raise these rates, when interest rates start going up, the economy slows down. This may not have as big of an effect on the jobs market this year as it would in the past, because the overall labor force participation rate in our economy actually dropped significantly since the virus ended up coming out. This means that there are still a lot of jobs available, and there are not the same amount of employees still matching up with that, which is why I don't think that in this recession, unemployment is going to be kind of like going up to the degree of like 2008 or things like that. But we are going to see, in my opinion, something else, and we are going to see an earnings recession very soon. This is because of the fact that with these higher rates and demand slowing down in the economy, we're going to see business profits actually slow down to some degree. It's like, try to think about this logically. Like, do you think people are going to be buying a lot more iPhones during a time like this, or a lot less? We're already starting to see the cars market be affected heavily, and this will have a big effect on the market and Tesla going forward. Now, we have more earnings for next week, and also FOMC in about 2 weeks with midterm elections following it. For the QQQ, we got a very nice push to the upside. We do have some potential to, I think we have a gap up here. It's about that 279 level. We do have potential to fill this gap up here first if we do get another push, maybe a kind of like a fake out for the short term before we get a big rejection very soon. And I do believe this is going to transcend itself into Tesla as well. The market is very uncertain. Even though the market did push up a bit, we weren't just like pushing in one direction. The first like 30 minutes were extremely choppy. We are still seeing lots of uncertainty as there are so many global events going on right now, with lots of tensions involving the chips in China, not to mention the fact that on the news, we're seeing like in the UK, they're likely going to be getting a new prime minister very soon. And on top of that, we're seeing things involving Elon Musk talking about new moves he's going to make for Twitter. So I'm trying to make this as clear as possible, guys. Elon Musk does seem very fixated on buying Twitter. He really wants to talk about how he's going to change the workforce over there. He's going to make it a lot more efficient. He's going to deal with a lot of issues, and he's exposing many big problems that actually exist in this economy, because you have to remember, these big social media companies are not necessarily government owned. They're not like government agencies, so they're not subjected to the same amendments, if you want to put it that way. So because of that, there have been lots of pieces of controversy kind of like arising because of these social media platforms. Elon Musk has been exposing it like left and right, and he's very, very clear on his words that he really wants to buy Twitter. He really wants to make a change. He keeps on talking about it. Now, there has been some talk about Musk maybe playing 4D chess, and that he might not be interested in this whole Twitter deal in all actuality. He's just pretending that he is, so that someone gets involved and they stop it, and it looks like he's a loser and he's not. I mean, there's been all this crazy talk, guys. I mean, it's really a mess. There's been some talk about the U.S. government also interfering. I do not see confirmation of any of these things. All right, it's important to note all these things, but there is one thing I want to warn everyone about if you are a Tesla investor, and that's this. Elon Musk is, at least according to the media, based off what he said, based off historical data, he's very fixated on buying Twitter explicitly. This is what he says. And considering that, there's a good chance that he may end up selling more Tesla shares to actually close the deal. It's very possible that he's going to do this. This doesn't mean he's going to sell all his Tesla shares or even like half of them. He may sell just another, like, I don't know, a few billions worth every now and then. It could end up happening again. This is why a lot of Tesla investors are now like on the edge. They don't know exactly how this is going to go down. And Musk is still making all these big claims about how he wants to really change kind of like the business models of Tesla and also other things like that. So when it comes to what the Biden administration is doing, they're discussing whether or not the U.S. should basically be subject to some of Elon Musk's ventures of national security reviews and things like that. So now they're getting involved. I mean, the whole thing is just a mess. I mean, it's just crazy, guys. And I wanted to talk about something else that Musk mentioned. I think I have the tweet like right here. Actually, I don't have the tweet, but anyways, it doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to make is the fact that there's been a lot of criticism about some of the big things that Elon Musk has stated, but Musk also mentioned that other big companies, especially social media ones, they're able to become very big without having like an absolutely massive sum of employees. So he's going to like these very nitty details about what he's going to do with Twitter. It just seems, in my opinion, like he's very fixated on this. Now, the Twitter board is also more fixated on this because the share price that he'd be buying it at, I mean, in his eyes, that wouldn't be like the best of deals. But then if he does end up paying that, it's going to be a big benefit for them. So, with that said, right, they seem to be more inclined, more affirmed into him actually buying their company. And Elon Musk is also kind of coming out the same way. So we are seeing a very nice agreement right there. So if the deal does close, all right, over the weekend, whether it's the weekend, whether it's like tomorrow, maybe it's going to be next week, there's a possibility that Elon Musk can make an announcement, the news, the media can make a big announcement that Musk is selling Tesla shares. It's very possible. And because of that, it's also important to note this. As Tesla pushes up, we have this gap up here very close to that 220 range. If Tesla pushes up to about like 220, first off, we have a lot of chop around here. Look at how this thing is just chopping back and forth like crazy. So we're hitting a very high resistance level if we do push up like this. Additionally, the 226 level has been a pain for Tesla. It has struggled to break past this for a very long time. It's been like almost 2 weeks, and this thing's continued to either get rejected off like 226 or the low 220s. So I do anticipate that if Tesla does get a big push on Monday, we could fill this gap, but then after that, it's very possible for this thing to start coming down and reversing if the whole market starts doing that. That's very possible. And on top of that, right, it's risky. If you are trading Tesla, if you want to trade it to the upside, be very careful, because at any given moment, a headline could come out. Elon Musk just sold some more Tesla shares, and this thing could take a big hit if he does sell a lot of them. It's very possible. So this is the reason why this whole Twitter deal is actually kind of like getting in the way, causing some downside for Tesla. And on top of that, as they're getting closer and closer to actually closing the deal, the big announcement of them actually closing the deal and Musk like actually buying it for real this time, that could also cause Tesla to take a big hit to the downside. And I wouldn't be surprised if it were to happen when we're like in these very close levels. I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla comes down and retests this 202 to 200 range. And in my honest opinion, in my biases being kind of like confirmed right now, I have to be honest, guys. I don't think that 200 is going to hold us for this year. I do believe that if the market gets a big hit, which it very likely is going to end up doing, Tesla's likely going to drop below 200 when the time is right. Now, I'm going to make another video about this where I go into more details a little bit later, but it's important to note that for the short term, yes, there may be some blood coming ahead of us with Twitter going on, with lots of big banks, whether it's like UBS or if we're talking about Credit Suisse, a lot of big banks are taking some big hits right now. They're kind of like struggling. We're seeing credit default swaps going up like crazy, which means that the risk of them kind of like struggling to pay off their debt is actually going up and up and up. So a lot of these banks are very close to going bankrupt, or they may not like talk about it. They may not show it because they're trying to keep the market afloat right now, especially going into midterms. But it is something that's going on behind closed doors, and this will have an effect on the overall economy and the markets. So for Tesla, in this case, guys, just to make this clear, this thing might push up going into like Monday or Tuesday. We could fill this gap up here. We could end up hitting the 220 zone, maybe touch 226, who knows? But I wouldn't necessarily just go heavy onto the call side in this play. I'd be very careful with it because at any given moment, Musk can be selling some shares. And also historically, even if Musk does not sell more Tesla shares, we have a lot of chop in this zone right here. We have strong resistance, and the market could actually turn around when people least expect it, because it does look like the market is still set for more downside when the time is right, when they start to flip the switches, and it could happen very soon. So that's why I'm still very cautious. Now, when it comes to good news for Tesla, all right, not everything is bad. We do have good news too. It's important to note the fact that Tesla is still customizing their cars. They have new colors coming out. Musk tweeted that only Giga Berlin can make these colors as paint shop was specially built to apply many fine layers of paint, giving it complexity not otherwise possible. So this is a very beautiful color in my opinion. It's known as the Quicksilver, which is like right here, and also we have the Midnight Cherry Red. I think they're absolutely beautiful, and I do believe that this will really help their customer service, their buyers get more and more abilities to personalize their cars more and more. On top of that, Tesla's working on full self-driving technology, and I think Musk also mentioned this, I'm sorry, right here, where he talked about the fact that he believes Tesla's going to be worth more than Apple very, very soon. He actually mentioned this on the earnings call. He also reaffirmed this on his Twitter page. So he's very bullish, guys. So do not let the potential downside in Tesla get the best of you. I'm still very bullish too. With that said, thank you all so much for listening. Enjoy your weekend, and I will most definitely see you guys in the next video. Tesla to the moon, because the long-term future is still incredibly bright, and peace out.